Hello, YouTube. Welcome to my channel, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Today we have a lovely young lady who asked the question, how am I still single? And well, I offer up my response to why she's still single. And we could chop it up if you come up and talk. But before we get started, like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Be sure to comment on this one. This is pretty good. It's a real short video from TikTok, and I'm gonna let it play through once, and then I'm gonna come back and kind of chop it up and have commentary on some of the things that she says. And I'm trying to say this right off the top of my head instead of writing something down. I'm gonna try to be as authentic with my answer as possible in terms of, first time response to what she's saying. Because I did listen to it once before, but I want to listen to the whole thing first again, and if you're on, you can listen to it as well, and then I'll commentate on some of the things that she says. So stay tuned. Just hold on. Let me go ahead and do what I just tell. I'm going to play a tape, and you just listen to it. She's a nice young lady. I don't know. She says a little bit about what she does. No, that's not it. Uh, I'm gonna cut that out. But here we go.
Everyone. I don't have any kids. I got a credit score of 803 exact, recently pulled. I have two paid off cars. I'm about to close on my first house this year in May. I'm not toxic at all. I got a big booty. I'm releasing an app on iOS and Android. I work hard as fuck. I'm not clingy, but I'll always make sure my partner feels appreciated. Okay, so I don't cook, but I can. I can learn. And it's not like I don't know how to cook, but I just don't cook as much as I should. I'm probably not as feminine as the average feminine female, but I wear heels, I dress up. I just feel like I have a very dominant personality. I'm 5'8" in my head, but 5'4" on paper. I've never actually lived with a partner before. I'm just trying to figure out, how am I not married with 5 kids running around? Like, what the fudge am I doing wrong? Most people say, oh, I don't give people a chance. Yes, I do. I have boundaries though, and I don't let people fuck me over. I'm gonna say more than 3 times because I give chances. I even give you a second chance. But it's so easy for me to just walk the fuck out once you start playing with me. But I still don't understand how I'm still single.
Oh man, listen to her. But I'm gonna play that
I'm
again,
31.
but not right now. But listen. So you hear what she had to say. You heard it once, and then we'll chop it up the next time. I'm gonna go right through it. Then I'm gonna stop it as she goes, and then we'll say some of my opinion on what she says piece by piece. So let's go again.
One, I don't have any kids. I got a credit score of 803 exact, recently pulled. I have two paid off cars. I'm about to close on my first house this year in May. I'm not toxic at all. I got a big booty. I'm releasing an app on iOS and Android. I work hard as fuck. I'm not clingy, but I'll always make sure my partner feels appreciated.
Okay, so let me stop right there. Okay. All right. So one of the things that sis that you're doing wrong right off the rip is that when you leave with your resume like that, I don't know whether you want a man or a woman as somebody you want to cling to. Because for the most part, men who are on their grind are not, it's not that they're not interested, but that's not what they're looking for their wives to be. They don't need a resume from you like that. They want some of your feminine skills. What kind of wife will you be? What kind of mother to their kids? Not because of all your accomplishments. They would admire you for it, but that's not what they would marry you for. That's what you got to understand, right? So you don't lead with that. And let me put it to you this way: if you went on a date with a man and he whipped out a sheet and he wanted your resume, you'd look at him sideways. If he said, well, what kind of car do you drive? What's your credit score, honey? If a man asks you that, you're gonna say, well, who is this clown? You know what I'm saying? So, for the man you want, he ain't looking for, I don't know what kind of man you want, because we're gonna get to that too. But let's just say, if you were talking to a woman and you were a lesbian, then maybe what you're saying with all these accolades on how you could provide might be more interesting to a female partner, as you say. Do you understand? So if you were sitting across from a woman and you're going to start a same sex lesbian relationship, okay, so, maybe she'd be interested in your credit score and, the fact that you have two cars that's paid off and you're getting ready to buy a house to put her up in so she can sit down and rest in her femininity while you work your ass off. Is that what you're looking for? I don't know, but you didn't make it clear. But I think you want a man. So here's one of your other mistakes that you made, and I'm gonna let this play again. Most men, and I'm not really that big select kind of guy, I'm just a regular dude. We don't want partners. We don't want partners. We want wives. We want wives. If I wanted a business partner, I'd go write a partnership agreement with somebody, and then we just kind of, hash out transactionally how we're going to deal with each other in this romantic relationship. So here's my suggestion. And I'm a secular kind of guy. I have one foot in the secular world and maybe one foot in the religious Bible world and stuff. Go through the Bible and search on what it is to be a wife and what it is to be a husband and study that. You don't have to put God and all that stuff into it because there's a corollary in the regular secular world about husbands and wives. Then ask yourself a question. Go find the marriage vows and find out whether you can actually follow them. Say, if you want a man in your life, ask yourself, can you really follow the marriage vows without trying to put some modern feminist spin on them? And see if you can't do it, then maybe you don't need to be married. Maybe you're looking for the wrong things. So it's just a thought.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't cook, but I can. I can learn. And it's not like I don't know how to cook, but I just don't cook as much as I should. I'm probably not as feminine as the average feminine female, but I wear heels, I dress up. I just feel like I have a very dominant personality.
Listen, okay, so let's just chop it up there. We're in the West, so women in the West are a little bit more boisterous in general, black, white, and indifferent. But the point is, it's not a matter of you being a little bit more dominant. It's just that whether you think your Johnson is bigger than the man you want. As long as your Johnson's not bigger than his, then y'all can get along. But he does. You got to work on your feminine skills. There's books on that. There's books on that. As far as cooking, it depends on the man. I know how to cook. I didn't necessarily marry my wife for her cooking skills. She knows how to cook because when we have kids, guess who's going to be cooking for them? But that's not the point. This whole thing, cooking and all that, that's something you could negotiate, especially if you're both working. You know what I'm saying? So, that's not really a big a deal with the higher caliber men they're not going to hold that against you unless you're really lazy. Everybody wants a home cooked meal both ways every so often. Uh, so from that standpoint, I mean, it's negotiable. If you look, you're a pretty woman, so I'm sure you dress up nice. But then that leads me to the next thing. But let's just go. I'm gonna leave this for last.
I'm 5'8" in my head, but 5'4" on paper. I've never actually lived with a partner before. I'm just trying to figure out how.
Okay, so you mentioned the word partner. All right, so you got to get that out of your head because unless you want a man who is used to being just some kind of a partner to a woman and you're supposed to be equal in this relationship, then that's okay for you. All right. But if you want a man who's going to take leadership and all that kind of stuff, he ain't looking for a partner. He's looking for a wife. Like, once again, You can go through 1 Corinthians, you can go through Psalms, you can go through some of the books that talk about wives and husbands and read them and actually read them and see whether you're on track or not. So if it may not mean nothing to you, but you know where that word partner came from? Rainbow community, homosexual relationships. They call themselves partners because they can't figure out who's the lead or not. That's not the same for husband and wife. We're not partners. Guys want wives, and women who really want to be married want husbands. They don't want partners. There's a difference. There's a big difference. Now, you might, unless you settle in for just the average guy who doesn't care what you call him, as long as he has you, that might not be enough for you. But let's continue.
How am I not married with 5 kids or running around?
Okay, so there you go. How come you're not married with 5 kids and running around? So it's encouraging that you want babies because a lot of women these days don't want to be married with kids. They just want to have kids and put them on a state. So it's good that you want to be married before you carry. Okay, you have no kids. That's a plus. That's not only a plus, that's really, really a plus. Here's your problem. It depends on what kind of men you want to attract. You got a neck tattoo. So the men that you attract are the kind of men who don't care whether you have a neck tattoo. But if you want a higher caliber of man who wants the respect of his peers and who wants the respect of the men he admires, he doesn't want his wife to come to the corporate events with a neck tattoo and a nose ring. You got to get rid of that too. You're not an Aborigine. You're not in sub-Sahara Africa. You're in America. So if you want a higher caliber man, you got to represent a woman for a higher caliber man. And listen, you don't have to listen to me. You could, if you're a boss babe and nobody can check you, boo, then keep your tattoo on your neck, keep the nose ring, and see if you start to attract the men you want. Now, here's what you're gonna say to me, and maybe you will, maybe you won't. You say, I got a lot of men in my DM. A lot of them make money, and it's, but what do they want you for? Because there's no, I'm not saying you're gonna say this because you didn't say this in this me talking to you. You're not really, we're not having an exchange that way. I'm just telling you what I'm thinking. A lot of women conflate the issue of sexual attention and attention for romantic love and marriage. There's a big difference. A high caliber men would like to have would not hesitate to have you for a plaything, but will they ask you to marry them? That's a big difference. So it doesn't matter whether you have 1,000 people in your DMs. It matters what kind of what they want from you. And for the most part, it ain't no big rocket science for a man to want to stroke a honey. So giving up the coochie is no big feat, especially if you're pretty. You're not really no Academy Awards for giving up some coochie, right? So it's really, it's really, if you want to attract a man for marriage, you got to come differently. You got to step differently. You got to attract different kind of men. And that neck tattoo and that nose ring is going to hold you back. And thank God you don't have those big ass raptor claws on. I'm glad you don't have those on. Yeah, the fingernails are long, but they ain't too long. Let's continue.
Like, what the fudge am I doing wrong? Most people say, oh, I don't give people a chance. Yes, I do. I have boundaries though, and I don't let people fuck me over. I'm gonna say more than 3 times because I give chances. I even give you a second chance. But it's so easy for me to just walk the fuck out once you start playing with me. But I still don't understand how I'm still single.
Oh my God. You know what? Uh, well, I can't, hopefully I gave you a couple of pointers while you're still single, and you just got to take heed because the truth of the matter is, it depends on what kind of guys you're looking for. It really does. If you're looking for a guy who's going to acquiesce to your strength and all the stuff you have, then you don't have to look that far, because men like pretty women. But if you want a man who can hold you down, who's going to be there and be obligated to you more than you're obligated to him, for the most part, because a man who takes those vows and mean it, he's going to make sure that you're taken care of, even if you don't need him to take care of you for the rest of your life. So you got to look at the marriage vows and say to yourself, what do they mean to you? You got to look up what it means to be a wife. And the Bible is just about as good a place as any to find that out. And even if you're not spiritual or religious, you can make parallels in the secular world of what a good wife is, and then you can look up what a good husband is in the Bible as well. Do the same thing. What's the expectations of a man when he's looking for a wife? What's the expectations of a wife when you're looking for a husband? And then you could ask yourself, all these scrags that you've been attracting, do they meet those criteria? If you're looking for thug life dudes, they're not going to make good husbands. If you ignore the nerds and the guys who, are buttoned down and they don't look exciting, then you might be blowing it because they make better husbands. So, this is a good little test for you. It really is. So it's good that you're asking because a lot of women these days don't give a shit about being married or having kids. So it's encouraging to hear a woman even thinking about it. But that neck tattoo has to go. That nose ring has to go. Unless you want a lower caliber man who doesn't care about those things. Now, the fact that you got a tattoo sleeve, well, you can cover that up with the right kind of dress. But I don't know. This is just some wisdom from a guy who's been married for a long time about the men I know who want wives, and none of us give a shit about having a partner. If I wanted a business partner, I would have done that. That's what I would have done. If I could make a deal with a honey, and we just want to fool around and maybe get into business together. Okay, great, we could be partners. But if I want a wife, it's a whole different ball game. Anyway, I hope this helps. And I hope this. I saw your page. I wrote on it, and I kind of said some of the things I just said to you before. Because when you lead with your resume, it is not clear that you want a man in your life because that's what meant. Because it sounds like you're talking to a woman. Because that's what women want. They want to know whether a man could provide. So all you're talking about is what you could do to provide somebody with some kind of security. A man that you want, he doesn't really care about that. He admires it, but he's not going to depend on your ability to provide. Anyway, I hope that helps. Our pain, marriage, politics, and sports. Over and out.